Vince, we talk about ushering in eras and redefining and all that. And there's no argument about this. I mean, a lot of people, even on this age, think that you are the best poser, best entertainer, whatever you want to call it, in the history of bodybuilding. Some of your innovative routines, back the Terminator routine, the Macarena routine, I mean, you had all kinds of funny stuff out there, but that was entertaining. It was good bodybuilding and a good physique to boot. I mean, Lou obviously emulating some of those moves right now. See, you even inspired the Hulk to do some of that.
Exactly.
Come on! He wants to see some of that right now.
Yeah.
Vince says he wants to pose down, though.
No.
But Vince, talk to me about those routines. Talk to me about your expertise in showing. Having a great physique is one thing. Showing it off is a whole other art form.
Thank you. That is something in my repertoire that I kind of put a lot of time behind. I was all about, or should I say my wife was all about the entertainment factor. My whole creativity in posing came from listening to my wife explain to me one evening, just before the Olympia, that posing was boring. You know, as we train, and I know all these guys, we train with what we have, but we play very close detail to the smallest things that get a reaction to muscle. One of my main attacks to trying to win competition was taking the 3 rounds of judging and try to maximize at least one of those that was left behind, which was the entertainment round, the posing round. Back then, I say back then, I thought the value of the round judgment, I could beat some of these big guys on stage if I could steal a round. You see, they might be more muscular. They might win the symmetry round. I might win one of those. But when it came down to the posing round, and if it was judged properly, then how can you not give me the points on the posing round if I deserved it? Because that was my strategies. When my wife came up with the idea of being bored to death watching us pose as guys, and we were at the Olympia after she saw Linda posing and other women posing, she was like, that's entertaining. They're doing certain poses, the crowd is behind it. I'm going like, well, we can't do anything. We're in a phone booth, okay? It's muscle shot left, right, center. Most muscular, and that's it. Anything light of a most muscular was kind of feminine, so you really didn't want to portray that image on stage. The concept and the idea of being an entertainer is where it came from. My wife stimulated that, and it was about paying attention to what made the crowd move. So I thought that if I could study that, which I did, made it happen quite well, and I used certain key moments, certain key phrases and reactions of the audience, and it was a home run. It was like a one-hit wonder.
That's it, yeah.
Well, it certainly wasn't a one-hit wonder because you did it over and over and over, much to the delight of every audience I've ever been in attendance to, that they loved your posing. But you had a formidable physique as well, Vince. And I remember a stretch, correct me if it was probably in the late 80s, early 90s, where you had to have won 5 or 6 Grand Prix in a row.
Right.
I mean, it just seemed like every time you picked up, and don't forget, this was before Al Gore invented the internet. So, you didn't have direct access to results, and you waited for the next magazine to come out, and of course they had a few shows piled up in there, and you see, Vince Taylor wins this Grand Prix, Vince Taylor won this Grand Prix, Vince Taylor won this Grand Prix, and obviously, put you in contention as a few of the top guys for an Olympia title. And obviously I know every bodybuilder that stepped on an Olympia stage wanted an Olympia title. And unfortunately that didn't come your way, Vince, but was that something that was of importance to you in terms of your looking back on your career now? Would an Olympia title have made it more fulfilling, or were you content to have won many of the shows? I think at one point you had the most victories of any pro, is that correct?
Well, the Olympia title never eluded me because I was always conscious of my whereabouts. I mean, I had Lee Haney on one side, and Dorian followed in after that, and of course this guy here. I mean, what we had out here is, for myself, it was I never went into a show thinking, I'm going to win this. I'm going to take out Lee Haney. Come on now. Part of my posing routine that I did in Orlando with the Terminator was exactly that point. It was to pay the contribution to the fact that I will terminate some guys that I was after, Sean Ray, Lee Labrada. But when it came to Lee Haney, it was a destructive mode I put into that routine to let you know I may have fun when I'm doing, and these lights might be hot, but I am not stupid. Okay, I'm not going to take out this ruling Mr. Olympia no matter how bad I wanted to. That never eluded me because I never thought that I would beat Mr. Olympia. I was third twice You know, my very first bodybuilding contest professional was the Night of Champions, 1989. I was third, just by winning the Nationals a year before that. 2 years before that, I was a stone amateur running around in Germany trying to figure out how to play bodybuilding. Okay, so I was a rookie learning this very quickly. When I showed up and met Sean Ray at 17, like, wow, this is the greatest teenage bodybuilder in the world. I haven't even lifted a weight. You know, I was just getting involved. I'm talking 1983, you know, I'm 27 years old in 1983 time frame, and I'm thinking, I can do this. So I'm the old guy into the sport when you think about it. I had a slow start, a low start. I'm the old man. I'm the George Foreman of bodybuilding. Okay? When we talked once before, Flex said, man, what did 40, Flex? I turned 40, Vincent, you were kicking our butts at 40 and I can't even get out of bed. These guys were 30s, I'm 40. And I did rack up 22 professional wins. I had the most wins in the history of bodybuilding until Ronnie came along, you know. So I was proud of that. That made me happy about completions in bodybuilding. I went on to get the Guinness Book of World Records with the title winning. 5 Masters Mr. Olympia titles, I should have had 7. I was going for 10, but that's a different story at a different time. You know, but I'm done now. And at the age of 47, 46, I hurt my lower back. Well, not really, I just stopped competing altogether after my last Masters not win. I took 4 years off, turned 50 and decided, let me do this again in 2006. I went to Australia to qualify. I thought I won that show, I got 3rd. I didn't like the judging, but I made a statement. I came back at 50 to take 11th in the Olympia. And that was with 4.5 years layoff and 7 months of training, so I thought I would be back. But I was coming back for a different reason, not to be Mr. Olympia. In 2007, when I got back serious, I was going to continue my comeback. I did some sit-ups after qualifying for the Olympia again in Australia, got 3rd again, should have been 2nd, should have won 1st, okay? But when I got back, I did some sit-ups, got a small pinch in my lower back, and I was done. I got a slightly bulging disc, and it shut me down from 2007 until 6 months ago. So I've been out of the gym, not training, and Mr. Olympia, the fulfillment of being on stage and being Mr. Olympia tonight, and thanks to Jocko who put this event on, wow, I'm a fan, but I'm in some royal company. It's a pleasure to see all you guys. I'm glad to be here. This is my Mr. Olympia.
Fits right in. Vince Taylor.